Hello everybody, welcome to Tabletop Republic. Today we're going to paint this Snowtrooper. I've got him on a Citadel colour painting handle here, just so you know what that is. This guy's from Star Wars Legion. So the first thing I've done is primed with Korax White from Citadel. And as you can see on the card here, the Snowtroopers have two different shades predominantly over the body. We've got a kind of light khaki coloured body glove, for which we will use Seraphim Sepia. And pretty much the rest of the model is white. So the first thing I'm going to do is take this sepia tone, just work a little on your brush, make sure you're not got your brush too loaded so you're not going to pull it too much, and work it around all the sections that you want to be that khaki colour. Being a shade tone, this is going to flow into the recesses, give you a bit of shade, and also be a good base layer for all those sections that we want to be in that kind of khaki tone. So onto the cloak here as well, leaving everything else pretty much white. Reference your card and the box art if you need to. So with that done, we're going to turn to the white sections, for which we are going to use Citadel Colour Contrast Apothecary White. If you've never used contrast paints before, they're great for this kind of thing, and it really makes this model easy to paint. So basically every other section that we didn't paint the khaki colour, we're going to use this on, save for the blaster, of course. And that is going to go on just like the shades, the wash that we used a second ago. Contrast paints flow into the recesses, leaving the raised areas the required colour, in this case white, although it's a kind of off-white as you'll see here, and the details, the recesses, get shaded very light grey, so that does all the work for us. So now we're going to hit the blaster with Contrast Black Templar from Citadel Colour as well. And again, just make sure your brush isn't too loaded with this. Work it onto paper towel if you need to, and just very carefully paint the blaster only. If you make any mistakes, you can always tidy up. Oh, I'm going to hit the eye lenses here as well. If you make any mistakes, you can always tidy up with some Korax White again. So next, I'm going to highlight the cloth sections that we painted earlier in the sepia tone, first with Shabti Bone from the Citadel range, the layer paint range. And all we're going to do here is we are going to highlight up the sort of raised areas of all this cloth, picking out detail and leaving the recesses and sort of more lower areas in that sepia tone. Very straightforward. So once that's done, we'll take it another shade higher with Screaming Skull, because the sepia tone did darken it quite a bit, and we want to make sure we highlight this cloth back up again. So we leave a little bit more this time, leave a little bit of the Shabti bone behind as well, and pick only the raised areas, the highest points, if you will. So that is now that highlighted. So the next thing that we'll do is we'll give the white the same treatment. What we've got here is Korax White in the pot. It's the exact same tone as we used on the primer, but this is just the paint on version. So again, we're going to pick the raised areas of all the white sections that we've done here. Now, one thing, sadly, I failed to record was we go a step higher with the white as well, using white scar. But the camera wasn't rolling for that. So once we finished the Korax White, we also used white scar from Citadel just to bring it right all the way up. I also hit Evil Sun Scarlet on the little buttons inside his chest plate, and Eshin Grey on the blaster. Sadly, these weren't caught on camera. But just as we did for the cloth, just do the very raised areas with that. So, next we are going to give some texture to the base. This guy is obviously on the ice world of Hoth, and for that purpose we're going to use some snow. So the first thing to do is cover the base with regular PVA glue. Use an old brush for that, don't use a nice new brush. And for the snow effect we're going to use Army Painter Battlefield's Snow, which is a very fine white powdery kind of flock, and just drag the base through that once you've covered it in PVA, and there we are. We now have a snow effect base. Just to give it a little more detail, we're going to use some frozen tuft from Army Painter, a static grassed tuft. They have a wide selection of these, but for obvious reasons we're going to use the frozen version. So in order to apply that, all we do is PVA again, just dab this on, either directly on the base or on the underside of the static grass itself. Either's fine. And then we're just going to take our grass, our little static grass tuft, and place it on there where we have applied the PVA glue. And just use the base of a paintbrush here, the handle, to nudge it further into place if you need to. So that is pretty much finished, but we are going to apply one last finishing touch. Now, Imperial Stormtroopers and Snowtroopers are always depicted with really polished and shiny armor. So we're going to look to apply that effect to this guy as well. And for that purpose, we are going to use a gloss varnish. Here, this is Citadel Ard Coat. You can barely see the label because it is white itself as a product, but be advised it doesn't dry white, it dries clear. So we are going to apply that over all of the white sections to give that glossy, polished look that we see so often in the films. Now, although it does dry clear, it is a cloudy substance, so make sure it doesn't pull too much in the eye lenses and such. But there we have it, a completed Snowtrooper, ready to hit the tabletop for Star Wars Legion.